Russia just made a move that could change everything in Ukraine, and Western intelligence didn't see it coming. Here's what's happening on the ground right now that has NATO scrambling. What's up, everyone? We've got a major development in the Ukraine war that you need to understand, because this isn't just another advance. This is a calculated strategic gamble by Russia that could completely reshape the conflict. Here's what's happening. Over the past few weeks, Russia has launched a surprise offensive along Ukraine's northern border, specifically targeting areas in Sumy and Kharkiv oblasts. These are regions that have been relatively quiet since Ukraine pushed Russian forces back in 2022. So why is this move so daring? Let me break it down. First, Russia is opening a second major front. While the world has been focused on the grinding battles in Donetsk, places like Bakhmut and Avdiivka, Russia has been quietly repositioning forces northward. Intelligence reports suggest they've moved between 30,000 to 50,000 troops to the Belgorod region, just across the border from Kharkiv. And they're not just sitting there, they're probing defenses, launching artillery strikes, and testing Ukraine's response times. This is classic Russian doctrine. Stretch your enemy thin, force Ukraine to make an impossible choice, defend the north or hold the east. You can't do both effectively when you're already outmanned and outgunned. Second, the timing is strategic. Russia knows that Western aid is delayed. The U.S. aid package is still hung up in Congress. European ammunition production is ramping up, but won't peak until late 2025. Ukraine is rationing artillery shells right now, firing a fraction of what they were a year ago. Russia sees a window of opportunity, and they're exploiting it. So the big question, is Ukraine ready for this? Militarily, the answer is complicated. On one hand, Ukraine has spent the past year building extensive fortifications, trenches, anti-tank barriers, minefields, along the entire front line, including the northern border. They learned from Russia's playbook. They know how to defend. But here's the problem. Fortifications are only as good as the soldiers manning them. And Ukraine is facing a manpower crisis. Mobilization has been controversial. The average age of Ukrainian soldiers is now reportedly over 40. Younger Ukrainians are hesitant to enlist, and the casualties from 2 years of brutal combat are taking their toll. Ukraine's best troops, their elite brigades, are already committed in the east. If Russia seriously pushes in the north, Ukraine will have to pull forces from somewhere, and that somewhere is likely the very positions they've been trying to hold in Donbass. This is exactly what Russia wants. Diplomatically, Ukraine is in a tough spot too. President Zelensky has been pushing for more air defense systems, more F-16s, and permission to strike deeper into Russian territory with Western weapons. But Western allies are divided. Some worry about escalation. Others are dealing with war fatigue among their own populations. And let's be honest, there's an election coming up in the United States. If the political winds shift in Washington, Ukraine's support could change dramatically. Then there's the societal readiness factor. Ukrainians are resilient. There's no doubt about that. They've endured 2 years of war, blackouts, missile strikes, and economic hardship. But resilience has limits. The longer this war drags on, the harder it becomes to maintain national unity and morale. Russia knows this. That's why they're targeting civilian infrastructure. That's why they're launching these northern probes. It's psychological warfare as much as it is military strategy. So what does this all mean? Russia's northern offensive isn't about capturing Kharkiv, at least not yet. It's about forcing Ukraine into a war of attrition on multiple fronts. It's about exposing weaknesses in Ukraine's defense posture. And it's about sending a message to the West. Your support isn't enough. Ukraine's response will be critical. Can they hold the line in the north while maintaining pressure in the east? Can they adapt their strategy quickly enough? And most importantly, can they secure the weapons and ammunition they desperately need before it's too late? The next phase of this war isn't going to be won by dramatic breakthroughs. It's going to be won by logistics, endurance, and political will. And right now, Russia is betting that Ukraine and the West will blink first. We're watching the situation closely. The next few months could determine the trajectory of this entire conflict. If you want to stay updated on what's really happening, not just the headlines, but the strategic analysis, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Can Ukraine hold multiple fronts, or is Russia's strategy working? Drop your analysis in the comments. I want to hear what you think.